Hello and welcome. I am inserting a video here. I have actually completed the entire long campaign and I had a victory. I was able to do it by 1943 mid. I scored 80 victory points in that season, which counts as a double win. So I got my 1, 2, 3, 4 wins and finished the long campaign. Now throughout this campaign, some of you have wrote me and some of it I figured out on my own, but I did a few things wrong. And you just finished video 1, and I did put some comments in the video 1, but I wanted to highlight some of the things I got wrong in video format and explain it, because as you continue to watch this series, you may see things and say, hey, that's wrong, and I'm gonna let you know I already know. So let's get into it right away. The first one is, I said I didn't see the difference between a loss limit and a pilot minimum. That's because I forgot that when you lose a pilot, you can replace him with a green. So you can stay at your pilot minimum of 16 easily, but still lose 7 pilots and therefore lose the campaign. The other thing is when you have a wounded pilot over here, you can replace him even though he's wounded. You can still choose to replace him. That's a very important thing. And I did not take that into consideration. So when I talk about this, I was thinking that these were pointless. Just ignore me. Okay, that's the first one. My most egregious error is right here, the attack advantage. It says, an element must be attacked by 4 fighters, not from the oblique, and then Rata and Schwarm must be determined. So I think in the first video there, you just finished watching me send in fighters in evasive mode and still taking the Schwarm advantage. That was wrong. And it has to be the same fighter type and from the same approach box. So I think another thing I was doing is I was putting 2 here and then 2 over here and thinking that that gave me a Schwarm. They have to all 4 be from there in order to be a Schwarm. So I make this mistake probably more than any other mistake. The rules are very clear. They're written right here. And so just ignore me. I do eventually get it right by 1943, but most of 1942, I get this wrong. The next one is the escorts. I did everything correctly except a couple, this right here. So after I would, let's say he goes to flank 2 4 o'clock. So I would put him, here. On the next turn, I would tell you that since there was nobody for him to attack, he would return back. That is not the case. He stays there for the rest of the mission unless a second one comes to that spot. Then the second one stays there and the first one returns. This is called the peel-off rule, and I don't know why I got it wrong. It's very clear in the rule book. But anyways, I did get that wrong for the good portion of 1942. I think I had it fixed by 43. So those were the 2 biggest errors. A couple other more minor ones. Sorry, I was starting to lose my thought there, but here we go. When we start talking about rockets, which you don't see until 1943, these detonation markers do work towards the cohesion check. And I would roll my die and change. And when I'm talking about cohesion check, I'm talking about, what puts out the loose or the kaput marker. So let's say that I rolled my die and this became loose. Well, every one of these detonation markers that are on the board, when you take them off the board, which is something you do after the cohesion check, each one of these degrades it by 1. So this would have degraded it by 1. This would have degraded it again, which would have caused this to go back up, but then one of the bombers would have fallen, and I would have gotten victory points for that. So that actually was a rule that I did not take advantage of and made my campaign a lot harder than it needed to be. So that's a very important one. I did not get this right the entire campaign. I didn't even realize I was doing it wrong until I finished the entire thing and started a new one and was trying to read the advanced rules, which I didn't do in the first campaign here. Okay, what else did I miss? I know I missed a few more. I'm thinking I probably should have gotten out the YouTube to explain it. Okay, so we did the detonation markers. We did, a rule I never used, but I should have, is if you know that fighters are going to leave on turn 3, and you have, let's say, 5 tactical points, you're allowed to just wait until turn 3 to start the mission, and then you spend 3 tactical points to do that. So you can avoid the escorts altogether if you're afraid of them or worried about what they're going to possibly do. So that's a rule that I didn't get it wrong, but I also didn't use it ever in the campaign, and wanted to make sure I pointed that out. I know I'm missing a few more. They are in my notes, and I should have put those in front of me before I did this, and I apologize. I think I covered the most egregious or the worst of them. So anyways, I didn't want to make this a long video, so I apologize for getting the few things that I got wrong. This is a fun game. It's obviously, you know, when you first play it, you're going to miss a few rules, and as I played this, I learned as I went and got better. Very good game, and I hope that those rule errors or my omission of following them correctly doesn't deter you from it or from even the series. So that's it from me. I hope you do enjoy the series and find it to be informative. And once again, apologies for those rule issues, but you should be able to really garner how this game plays, even with, you know, the mistakes I made, especially now that you know what they are and can be mindful of them when they occur. All right, thanks a lot.